What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm doing another repair on my 2000 Ford F-250 7.3. The truck's decided to give me two issues recently. Within the last couple weeks, I've noticed that the fuel gauge level is all over. Like, you'll leave to go to work in the morning and it'll be at 3/4, and then by the time you get there, you're at 1/4, and by the time you get back at night, you're back up to half. Like, the level is constantly jumping all over, and I can't find any wiring issues, so that leads me to believe that the sending unit itself is bad. There's a little spot on there where this metal piece rubs on the float, where it'll determine how full it is, and I think that's what's worn out, so I'm going to have to replace it. But the ironic part is I ordered the part for it when I decided it's finally time to bite the bullet and fix it, just because it's not very ideal to have an inaccurate gauge. I don't want to run out of gas. So I decided to order the part the other day, and the day I ordered it is the day that the brake caliper stuck on the driver's side. So I'm like, wow, two issues back to back. But whatever, we'll get it fixed up, back as good as new. Anyway, this is going to be an interesting way to repair this. So most guys will go under here and take that tank and drop it down. That looks like it's a royal pain, and you got to drop it halfway down and then mess with unhooking fuel lines, which I'm sure are going to be stuck in there, and the wiring, and I just think it'll be way too much hassle, especially being that those bolts have never been out, so they're probably going to be hard to remove. But this is going to sound crazy to most people. This isn't worth it. But a couple years ago, I fully restored this truck, as those of you who have been following the channel for a while will know. And I can easily take this bed off because all my bed bolts are still new and it hasn't seen salt since. So that's why I've decided I'm actually just going to pull the bed off of it to get room to access it from the top. First thing I'm going to do to pull the bed, which is the easiest step, is going to be disconnecting our feller neck from the bed here, so we can go ahead and just unscrew our cap and remove, there should be 3, I only have 2, but these screws into our filler neck. Set these in the door card where I'll never remember. Now, coming underneath the truck, we'll unhook this wire here that goes to the rear bumper, as well as unhook this one that's for our lights, our tail lights on the bed. Coming in the truck right now, we have 8 of these T50 bed bolts to remove. Those of you who have owned these trucks will know that that's insane to come out that easy. If you do this on an old rust bucket, you would never get it. You'd fight it with a breaker bar until you break the strip them out or break the head off or something. When you're removing a Super Duty bed, you can choose to either leave the bumper on or pull it off, depending on how much you care about the bumper. If it's like a super nice bumper like mine and you painted it, made it perfect, then definitely pull it off. But if it's your stock chrome bumper that's 26 years old and isn't really that nice, then you can leave it on if you want. But there's literally these 2 bolts right here that are held in by this clip on the back side on both sides to remove, so it's real easy to just zip this out with an impact. A little more on my end will pop out, and then your end comes my end. Have to give it fresh grease when it goes back in. So we now have our new sending unit in. This is a diesel site one. Pretty simple. And now we'll be able to go ahead and throw this in. Now that it finally came in, it took way longer than I expected. I pulled this bed off thinking it was going to be here the next day because it was 2-day shipping, and it took like 6 days to actually show up. So that's whatever though. So anyway, this should be pretty simple. We're going to unscrew this plastic piece here to get it to come out, as well as unplug that electrical connector, and we'll have to unhook these fuel lines with a quick disconnect. So with those little metal retaining clips off, I just got this simple Harbor Freight fuel line disconnect, and we'll try to find one that fits. These are always pretty hard to get off. This is why I'm really glad that I removed the bed, because doing this from underneath like little room, oh, that one popped right off. Let's tuck that to the side. This one can rock in and out like that too, so it makes me think it's not that rusted. I did spray these with some Croil first to kind of break them free a little bit ago. All right, now we got both of those disconnected. And by the way, this cheap Harbor Freight set I'm using worked great. I used the smallest one, fit both of them, even though this fuel line looks a little smaller than the other one. So anyway, we're done with that now. Next, there's a wire right here that you guys probably can't see that good, but you just squeeze the one end with your thumb. It should pull out. Just got to spin this big plastic collar, which is going to be stuck in there pretty good. So I'm going to use a hammer and a screwdriver on some of these fins to try to break it free. And it's slowly working. I also sprayed some Croil around that edge just because there's a bunch of stuff on there. I can definitely say with 100% certainty now that if you have a means of removing your bed to do this, I would definitely recommend it. Wow, this tank is like almost full. And on the gauge, I thought I was finally getting an accurate reading when I filled it the other day. It was at like, but no. First of all, this piece is broken off. The float looks okay though. Let me set this over the garbage can. This piece right here is like disintegrated right off. That's supposed to be on the very bottom. And then look at all that like corrosion and stuff on here. That where this piece rubs on that metal to give it the reading is definitely worn out. So anyway, now we can go ahead and grab this O-ring out because it comes with a new one. Try to clean this area up a little bit. Luckily it looks like I didn't knock any gunk down into the tank, which wouldn't have been good. I'm not really sure what these are. I'm assuming this must be for if you had like a plastic disconnect on the tank. I'll have to look into that before the bed goes back on. But this O-ring is an obvious one. This just sets right on top of our hole here. Now we have our nice new one. As you can see, this piece here is still intact and it has this screen. So that screen wasn't even on there, so it must have fell down in there. Luckily, you know, that won't ever make it past this new screen. And if the tank was a little lower, I'd probably go ahead and fish it out, but I'd have diesel fuel all over my arms if I did that. So I'm just gonna have to leave that screen down there. But that's kind of scary because that tells me that you know, the screen can't clean it before it goes up front, so that'll probably just cause my main fuel filter on the engine to plug up a lot faster. Obviously, no corrosion or dirt on this. And when I rub this back and forth, I can feel a little resistance, like the little teeth in there, which on the one I just took out, it completely free spins. So I guess it makes sense that I was having problems. So let's try to fish this down in there. I think I went the wrong way. Right there like this. All right, now we're gonna have Mrs. Nick's Power Stroke finish off this install. Thanks to my dad, we got this thing screwed in. I was having a hard time getting even pressure on both sides while holding it where it needs to be, but it's finally in the right spot. So now she'll go ahead and hook the rest up.
Okay, so first we're gonna remove the rubber plugs that are put in to prevent the dust. I'm just gonna put them off to the side for now. Then, plug in the plug. Attach the clamp.
Here, push on it a little further in until it clicks.
Clicked already.
Okay.
And then the other one. And then the black one last. And it's going to send a signal.
Yeah, that's probably...
There it is.
Perfect.
There it goes.
Now we just got to verify that this actually works, which, by the way, how I said it's been jumping around in levels. Last time I filled it up a little bit, I wasn't able to get it to go over a quarter tank, and that's where it was at last I seen. So let's see where we're at now. That's more like it. Jumped right up to 3/4. And I guess I'll start it just to make sure there's no leaks while I'm at it. Sweet. Not as much air in the lines as I expected. And just like that, our level should be pretty accurate. It was decently full in there, but not all the way to the top, so I have no reason to expect it to be all the way on the full, but at least it's not at the 1/4 level. So that makes me super happy to know that it's now fixed and working, and it's nice to know that we have an actual screen hooked up again since the other one decided to fall off on us. So anyway, now let's get back to reinstalling our truck bed.
Sit. Ellie?
Right around there. Could someone... And just like that, I was able to go ahead and throw the bed, tailgate, and bumper back on, and everything is working great. Got the dust cleaned off it, as you can see. So I know this isn't necessarily the way a lot of people would do it, but this is how I did it, and I think it was a lot easier, especially because I ended up going ahead and finally fixing the tank straps, as you can see, and removing the old rusted out skid plate. And that was a real pain, especially because the ones I got originally didn't fit, and the whole thing was honestly a little bit of a pain in the ass. So I'm really glad I had the bed off for all the extra room. Even getting that top ring spun on to the sending unit was really hard to get it lined up right. So doing this with the bed on would have been a huge pain. So if your truck's not a complete rust bucket and you're able to, I'd recommend pulling the bed off. So that will sum up this repair. I hope somebody found this helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.